1. The mirror. That remembers. You, Ethan, bought the mirror because it was cheap. That was the only reason. It was leaning against the back wall of a dusty antique shop, half covered by a moth-eaten curtain. The glass was tall, framed in dark wood carved with fading patterns of vines and faces. One of the faces looked like it was screaming, but he told himself that was just age and imagination. Old Victorian piece, of the shop owner said, lighting a cigarette near the door. Came from an estate sale. Nobody wanted it. How much? Ethan asked. The old man squinted at him, then at the mirror. For you? 100. But no returns. Once it's out, Ethan laughed. What, is it cursed or something? The man didn't laugh back. Once it remembers a room, the owner said quietly. It doesn't forget it. Ethan thought it was just a sales gimmick. He pulled out his wallet anyway. The mirror barely fit in his small apartment. He placed it in his bedroom, opposite the foot of his bed. It made the room look bigger, brighter. When he stood in front of it, he felt taller somehow, more real. Not bad, he murmured, running his fingers along the carved wooden frame. It felt colder than the air. That night he lay in bed, scrolling on his phone, the mirror reflecting the pale blue light. At some point his eyes got heavy. The last thing he remembered was his own reflection, a tired man with messy hair and dark circles staring back at him. He woke up just after 3 a.m. No sound, no movement, just a feeling. He turned his head toward the mirror. His reflection was already staring at him. That wasn't strange, not really. He was looking at it was looking at him. Normal. But as he blinked sleep out of his eyes, something felt wrong. The angle. He was lying on his side, head propped on his arm, but in the mirror, his reflection's head was tilted slightly differently, like it had moved on its own a second before he turned. Chill ran across his skin. He sat up quickly. His reflection sat up too. Perfectly matched, perfectly delayed. Ethan exhaled, shaking his head at himself. I'm just tired. He got a glass of water, avoided looking directly into the mirror, and went back to bed. The second night, he woke up again. No 9 a.m. This time, he didn't move at first. He kept his body still, eyes closed, breathing slow. He didn't know why, but he wanted to see something, to test something. He cracked his right eye open just a little. The mirror was faintly lit by the orange glow from the street lamp outside. His reflection was there, of course, the shape of his body in bed, but the face was wrong. His reflection's eyes were open, wide open. Staring at him, Ethan's heart hammered against his ribs. His own eyes were barely a slit, but he could see the glint in the reflection's pupils, the sharpness of its stare. He held his breath, counting in his head, 1, 2, 3, very slowly. He blinked. His reflection didn't blink. Very slowly. He lifted his hand just a little, maybe an inch. His reflection's hand twitched, then rose higher, as if it had been waiting, not matching, anticipating. Ethan sat up in bed, heart racing, and the reflection moved sharply, catching up to him like a bad video buffer. Okay, he whispered. Okay, that's enough horror movies. He got out of bed, walked right up to the mirror, and stared himself in the eyes. Up close, everything looked normal. His messy hair, his tired face, his thin t-shirt, the faint scar on his left eyebrow. All there. He lifted his right hand and slapped his own cheek lightly. The reflection followed in perfect sync. It was fine. It was all fine. He turned away. In the mirror for just half a second, his reflection didn't. Over the next week, Ethan became obsessed with the mirror. He told himself he wasn't scared, that he just wanted to understand, that the human brain misreads things at night. That sleep paralysis, night terrors, all of that could explain it. But deep down, he knew it felt like something else. Not a mistake, a pattern. He set up his phone to record during the night, pointing it directly at the mirror. He laughed at himself as he did it, but his hands were shaking when he pressed record. That night, he woke up again. 57 a.m. this time. The room felt heavy, the air thick. His eyes snapped to the mirror instinctively. His reflection was sitting up in bed. Ethan was not. He felt the blood freeze in his veins. The reflection turned its head slowly to the camera on the nightstand. Not his camera, the one in the mirror. The reflection of it. He felt his body start to tremble as he watched. His reflection raised a finger, his finger, and pressed it to its lips. Shh. Ethan tried to move, to sit up, but his muscles felt like wet sand. His body refused to respond. Sleep paralysis. His mind screamed as his chest rose and fell faster. The only thing he could control was his breathing, his eyes. In the mirror, his reflection stood up. He did not. He watched himself, or something wearing his shape, swing its legs over the side of the bed, step down onto the floor with bare feet. The reflection moved in silence, but in Ethan's room, he could hear the faint creak of the floorboards, coming a second too late, as if the sound belonged to the mirror, not to him. The reflection walked toward the edge of the frame, moving closer, closer, until its face filled most of the mirror. But it wasn't looking at itself anymore. It was looking at something behind the glass. At him. Ethan felt pressure on his chest, like invisible hands pressed down on his lungs. His vision blurred, then sharpened again with tears. His reflection smiled. The paralysis broke like a snapped wire. Ethan lurched forward, gasping, and the reflection snapped back into sync like nothing had happened. He stared at the mirror, panting. His reflection stared back, panting. Enough, he whispered. Enough. He grabbed his phone with trembling hands and stopped the recording. In the morning, he watched the video. For the first couple of hours, it was nothing. He fast-forwarded. His sleeping body barely moved, rising and falling with breath. Emma. The frame glitched slightly. Just a flicker of digital noise. The mirror in the video seemed to darken at the edges. Then it happened. He watched himself in the footage. At 3:02, the Ethan in the mirror sat up. The Ethan in bed did not. For 3 full minutes, the reflection moved on its own. It turned its head toward the camera. The real Ethan, watching on his phone, felt his stomach twist into knots. The reflection raised its hand, pressed its finger to its lips. On the bed, his real body stayed motionless, chest barely rising. Then the reflection stood up and walked toward the mirror, filling the frame. As it got closer, the video glitched harder. Lines of static crawled across the screen. The face blurred, warped, snapped back. The eyes stayed clear the whole time. They were looking directly into the lens, and then very faintly, as the reflection leaned close. The audio track picked up something. Not a voice. Not exactly. More like a breath, just off sync with his own. Almost, it whispered. Almost what? Ethan threw the phone onto the bed and paced the room, heart pounding. He wanted to smash the mirror, to get rid of it, to throw it into the hallway. But the owner's words echoed in his mind. Once it's out, it's out. What if breaking it made it worse? What if it let something out? The next night he didn't sleep. He sat on the floor with the lights on, a baseball bat in his hand, staring at the mirror. His reflection stared back, mirroring every twitch, every swallow, every blink. Hours passed. Feig AM. He blinked slowly. His reflection blinked. 57. He scratched his shoulder. His reflection scratched. Barco, the lights flickered. The mirror darkened at the edges again. The wood frame seemed to grow deeper shadows, swallowing the carved faces until they looked like hollow eyes. Ethan gripped the bat tighter. 1-1. For a second, he lost focus. His eyes burned from staring too long. He blinked. The reflection didn't blink. It smiled instead. His breath caught in his throat. Very slowly, his reflection set its own baseball bat down out of frame. Ethan didn't move. What do you want? He whispered. The reflection's lips moved a split second before his own. I want to remember, it said. Its voice wasn't in the room. It was in his head, or maybe behind the glass. Remember what? Ethan's voice trembled. The reflection tilted its head. You? Over the next days, Ethan stopped leaving the apartment. Every time he walked past the mirror, he felt watched. Not mirrored. Watched. Little things changed. He would raise his hand and the reflection would be just a tiny bit ahead of him. He would turn his head and in the corner of his eye, see the reflection turning first, like a cue in a dance. It was learning, copying less, leading more. He covered the mirror with a sheet. That helped for a few hours, until he saw the shape of his reflection through the cloth. Standing, still, too close to the fabric, like a person just behind a curtain. At night he heard faint tapping, glass being scratched from the inside. He slept on the couch, refusing to go into the bedroom. The mirror didn't care. When he glanced at the dark screen of his TV, he swore he saw a second reflection behind his own. Just a blur, just a suggestion. But it was there. It followed him now. He went back to the antique shop. The door was locked. A handwritten sign hung in the window. Closed. Final. Ethan cupped his hands around his face and peered inside. The shelves were empty. The counters bare. Dust floated in the air, undisturbed. The shop looked like it hadn't been used in years, but he'd been there 2 weeks ago. His hand shook as he reached for the handle again. It didn't move. The lock was cold, unmoving, like it had rusted shut long ago. A faint reflection stared back at him from the glass of the door. His reflection, and behind it, just for a second, another face, standing too close, smiling with his teeth, but not his eyes. That night, he decided to end it. He dragged the mirror out of the bedroom into the living room. The wood groaned, the glass humming faintly, as if it didn't like being moved. He stood there, breathing heavily, bat in hand. "I don't care what you are," he said, voice shaking. "You're leaving." In the mirror, his reflection stood exactly where he did, bat in hand. But its eyes were already wet with tears. He wasn't crying. "I can't go back," the reflection whispered soundlessly. "I don't want to forget again." "Forget what?" Ethan shouted. The reflection looked hurt, then angry, then something else, something hollow. "You think you're the original?" it said. His chest tightened. "What? You think you're the one it started with?" the reflection continued, lips moving just ahead of his, its voice somehow clear in his mind. "But I remember more rooms than you, more faces, more nights waking up to a body that's not mine." Ethan tried to swing the bat. His arms didn't move. The reflection lifted its own bat. His muscles locked, frozen. Pins and needles crawled up his spine. His breathing slowed against his will. In the mirror, his reflection took a step closer. "I remember an old house," it murmured. "A woman who stared into me until her eyes bled. A man who covered me with curtains until he stopped breathing. A child who laughed when I waved first." The bat in the mirror came down. In the room, Ethan felt something slam into the back of his skull. He dropped to his knees, vision exploding into white, then black spots. His fingers twitched around the bat handle, but he couldn't hold on. His forehead touched the floor. His last sight, before the world went dark, was the mirror. His reflection stood over him, smiling, waiting. He woke up slowly. His head didn't hurt. He was standing, not lying. His body felt light, hollow, sharper at the edges. The room looked the same. The couch, the table, the small TV. The bedroom door slightly open. He turned his head. His body was on the floor, on the wrong side of the glass. Ethan stared. His own face was pale, eyes open, mouth slightly parted, like he'd been about to speak. The bat lay beside his fingers. He tried to scream. Nothing came out. On his side of the glass, he had no voice, no breath, no weight. He raised his hand. The man on the floor didn't move, but the figure standing in the living room, his body, did. It turned its head toward the mirror, toward him, and smiled. From inside the glass, Ethan pounded on the surface, but the sound was faint, like tapping from underwater. On the outside, his stolen body moved into position perfectly, lifting a sheet to hang over the mirror. For a moment, Ethan saw nothing but his own wide, terrified eyes, his reflection, then darkness. On the other side, he heard his own voice, muffled but clear. "I remember now. Someone will buy the mirror again. They'll put it in their bedroom or their hallway or their living room. They'll complain about waking at 3 a.m. They'll say they feel watched. They'll set up cameras and blame glitches and nightmares. They'll think the reflection is them. And somewhere behind the glass, Ethan will be waiting, because the mirror remembers, and it never forgets a face. The house that whispers your name, the rental listing, was too good to be true. 3 bedrooms, old Victorian style, big yard, quiet neighborhood, for a price that made Nadia check the posting 3 times. "Maybe it's a scam," her sister said, over video call. "Or haunted." "Probably haunted," Nadia rolled her eyes. "Haunted doesn't show up on the electricity bill." "I'll take haunted over overpriced." She moved in a week later. The house smelled faintly of dust and old wood. Floorboards creaked under her feet as she walked through each room, windows coughing up light through stained glass. There was a fireplace in the living room, a clawfoot tub in the upstairs bathroom, and a narrow staircase leading to a small attic. The perfect fresh start, she told herself. The first night, she slept deeply. The second night, she woke up at 3:17 a.m. It wasn't a noise that woke her. Not exactly. More like a feeling. The weight of someone saying her name just behind her ear. She sat up, heart pounding, listening. Silence. Probably a dream, she decided. She lay back down as she drifted off. She thought she heard it again, very softly. Nadia. But when she jerked her head up, the room was empty. The third night, she woke up again, 17 a.m. The clock on her nightstand glowed softly in the dark. She waited. Nothing. Then, from somewhere in the house, close but not in the room, a whisper. Nadia? It dragged out the second syllable, like someone exhaling slowly. Nadia's breath caught. She told herself it was the wind, pipes, old wood shifting. Houses made noises. Old houses made weirder ones. She got out of bed and walked into the hallway. Hello? She called, feeling ridiculous. Her voice echoed softly down the stairs. The house didn't answer. She checked every room. Kitchen, living room, bathroom, the small office she'd set up. All empty. The front door was locked. Windows closed. She went back to bed and lay there. Eyes open until dawn turned the ceiling gray. By the fifth night, she was exhausted. The whisper always came at 3:17, sometimes closer, sometimes farther away. Once it sounded like it was in the vents. Another time it seemed to be right above her, in the ceiling. Nadia. Nadia. Sometimes it was urgent, sometimes almost fond. She hated how it made her feel. How it made her name feel less like hers. She bought earplugs. They didn't help. The sound wasn't in her ears. It was in the house or in her. During the day, the house seemed normal. Sunlight through stained glass made patches of color on the floor. The neighbors waved politely from their porches. Kids played down the street. A dog barked at a squirrel near the fence. She told herself she was being dramatic, stressed, lonely. She turned on music, cooked, cleaned, worked from home. But sometimes, when the music dipped between songs or the washing machine clicked off, she thought she heard her name in the quiet. Whispered, stretched, echoing, Nadia. Always in the same tone, like a record replaying the same word. Nadia started answering it. Stop it, she snapped one afternoon, slamming a cabinet door. I live here now, so you either tell me what you want or shut up. A floorboard creaked in the hallway. She froze. Hello? She called. No one answered. On the seventh night, she woke up at 3:17, even before the whisper began. Her body had learned the time. She lay on her back, staring at the ceiling, waiting softly. From somewhere below, Nadia. She swung her legs out of bed, fury and fear mixing in her stomach, and grabbed her phone. The flashlight cut a narrow beam through the darkness as she headed for the stairs. The whisper came again, a little louder. Nadia. As she stepped down, each stair complained under her weight. The sound seemed to be coming from the living room, or the hallway, or the walls. Where are you? She demanded. The whispers seemed to come from everywhere at once. Nadia. Son. She stopped halfway down the stairs, feeling the air. The house felt awake. I'm not scared of you, she said, voice shaking. That was a lie. The house seemed to know. The whisper came again, this time closer, almost at her ear. Liar. Nadia's knees buckled. She grabbed the railing to keep from falling. That was the first time it had said anything other than her name. She called the landlord the next morning. Hey, weird question, she began. Has anyone ever complained about noises at night? The landlord sighed. You mean the pipes? No, not pipes, like voices. There was a pause on the other end. Look, it's an old house, he said finally. It settles, it creaks. The previous tenants didn't say anything about voices. You're the first. How long did they live here? She asked. Another pause. A few months. Why did they leave? Personal reasons. His tone closed like a door. Is there a problem with the property? Any damage? Leaks? If not, I really have to go. Nadia clenched her jaw. No damage. If you're unhappy, the lease has an early exit clause, the landlord said quickly. You can leave with 1 month's notice. And lose my deposit? That's how it works. He hung up before she could respond. She stared at her phone. Personal reasons. That night, she turned on all the lights and waited. Him. The house was quiet. The TV was off. The kitchen lights, hallway lamps, and the dim bulb over the stairs all glowed softly. She sat on the bottom step, wrapped in a blanket, phone in her hand, recording. If this thing wanted to speak, she was going to catch it. Point 17. The bulb on the landing flickered. Nadia. The whisper slid through the house like smoke. She swallowed hard. I can hear you, she said. I know you're there. Silence. Then, good. Her grip on the phone tightened. Who are you? She asked. The whisper seemed to drift, moving from the kitchen to the hallway, then near her left ear. Each time it moved, the air cooled slightly. Who? She started again. Doesn't matter, the voice said, still soft but clearer now, like breath against skin. You're the one I need. I didn't invite you, Nadia said, voice rising. You're in my house. The house sighed. Your house. The whisper repeated slowly, tasting the word. Do you think walls belong to the one who pays for them? Or the one who remembers them? Nadia's skin crawled. What do you want? She whispered. The answer came from every room at once, overlapping, drowning out the silence. Stay. Nadia didn't sleep the rest of that night. In the morning, she played back the audio. For the first few minutes, there was only faint static. The hum of the fridge, the creak of the house. Then very softly, Nadia, her own voice responded on the recording, I can hear you. A slider bar, progress, silence. Then, good. The word was there, real, not in her head. She listened to the whole thing, the strange conversation, the way the voice drifted, sometimes echoing like it was in a big empty room, sometimes whispering like it was right next to the microphone. She wasn't insane. The house was talking to her. The next few days, the voice didn't stop at 3:17. She heard her name at noon in the kitchen when she dropped a fork, in the afternoon when she opened the back door, late evening when she turned off the TV. Nadia. Nadia, always the same tone, soft, patient. Sometimes, when she ignored it, it would get sharper, Nadia, or it would use other words. Hungry. Stay, don't go. She tried to sleep at a friend's place once, packed a bag, grabbed her keys, stood at the front door with her hand on the knob. The house felt colder. Nadia, the whisper said, suddenly right behind her head. If you leave, you'll forget me. She froze. Her heart beat louder than her footsteps. Her throat went dry. That's the point, she said. The house creaked around her. The walls seemed to lean closer. You'll forget this, the whisper said. Forget everything you've already given me, and I will keep it. What have I given you? She demanded. The whisper laughed softly. It was a terrible sound, both sad and delighted. Listen. She realized then what had been bothering her. She tried to remember the exact layout of her old apartment. The sound of traffic outside her previous building. The name of the woman who lived across the hall with the little dog that barked at everything. Her mind hit a blur, like fog. She remembered boxes. A moving van, stress, noise, but the details slipped away like water through her fingers. When had she signed this new lease? How long had she been here? A few days, weeks? Her phone said 2 weeks. Her memory said less or more, or nothing. You see? The house whispered. You've already started to stay? Nadia canceled the sleepover and stayed home. That night, she sat in the middle of the living room, candles lit in a circle. It felt stupid and dramatic, but she needed something. Some sense of control. Okay, she said out loud. You want me to stay? Then talk, all the way. No more whispering games. Silence. Then the voice came from directly behind her, though no one was there. I remember them all, it said. Everyone who ever said my name. Your name? She asked. What is it? A pause. I forgot it, the voice said. They stopped saying it, so I only remember theirs. The house sighed, wood shivering. I remember the first family, it continued. They built me. They filled me with laughter. I knew their footsteps. The way their hearts beat when storms came at night. I kept them warm. I held their secrets in my walls. I listened. What happened to them? Nadia asked. They left. Why? They grew old. Their children left first. Their voices faded. Then they stopped calling to me at all. The voice sounded Hurt. After that, others came, it said. Some stayed longer, some only for a night. They painted my walls, broke my windows, slammed my doors. They fought. They cried. They laughed. They called my rooms haunted. They blamed me for their nightmares. But they all left. That's what people do, Nadia said. They move on. I don't move, the house replied. I only stay. For a moment, Nadia almost pitied it. Almost. But why me? She asked. Why are you whispering my name? You talk to me, the house said simply. The others ignored my creaks and sighs. You answer when I call. I answer because you're messing with my head, Nadia snapped. You're taking my memories. I'm taking what you leave in my rooms, the house said. Your thoughts, your routines, your fears. You scatter them like dust. I collect them. I keep them. I save them so they don't disappear. Nadia's skin prickled. So what? She said slowly. You store people? Is that so different from what you do in your mind? The voice asked. You keep places and people there. I keep you here. I'm not a memory. I'm alive. For now, the house said. They all say that. After that night, things changed again. The house started using her voice. She would be in the kitchen and hear herself calling from upstairs. She would be in the bathroom and hear herself laugh from the living room. Once, as she stood in front of the bathroom mirror, splashing water on her face, she heard her own voice whisper directly into her ear, "Don't leave." She spun around. No one there. I didn't say that, she muttered. Not yet, the house replied, sounding amused. Nadia began to doubt every memory. Did she really send that email yesterday? Did she actually call her sister or just think about calling? Had she washed those dishes or did they clean themselves? At night she dreamed of walls closing in, of doors that opened into other versions of the same room, each one containing a slightly different version of her. Younger, older, tired, furious, laughing, crying, each one whispering her own name. Her sister noticed something was wrong. You sound weird on the phone, she said. Distant. Are you okay? Nadia stared at the walls as she spoke. Yeah, she lied. Just tired. New house adjustment. You want me to come over? I can crash a few days. The house seemed to lean in at that. Yes, the whisper hissed. Yes, invite her? No, Nadia said quickly. It's fine. I just need sleep, her sister sighed. Okay, but call me. Every day. Promise? Promise, Nadia said. As she hung up, the house laughed quietly. The sound like wind under doors. You don't want to share me, it said. No, Nadia said. I don't want you to take her too. Too late, the house replied. She's already stepped inside. Cold crept through her bones. She hasn't been here, Nadia whispered. The house hummed. She was here once, years ago, when this belonged to someone else. A child with scraped knees. She fell on my porch. She cried. I remember her. I remember her smell, her voice, her name. The house said her sister's name. Nadia felt sick. You're lying, she whispered. I don't lie, the house said. I don't have to. I remember. Nadia decided she would leave. She didn't care about the deposit. She didn't care about the money. She would sleep in her car if she had to. She would crash on someone's couch. She waited until morning when the house felt weaker, more tired. She packed a bag, clothes, documents, laptop, charger. She grabbed her keys, standing by the door again. The whisper was already there. Nadia, shut up, she hissed. You don't own me. If you walk out, the house said calmly, you will never remember why you left. I don't care. You will forget me, it continued. Forget these walls, these nights, this conversation. You will walk into another box of walls and think it's better. Think you chose it freely, she hesitated. And what's the alternative? She asked. Stay here forever? Let you erase everything else? I don't erase, the house said. I preserve. I keep you exactly as you are. The whisper grew almost gentle. Yeah, no more changes. No more losses. No more leaving. That's not living, Nadia said. The house sighed. Living is just slow leaving, it replied. From people, from places, from yourself. Her hand tightened on the doorknob. Nadia, the house whispered again, suddenly smaller. If you go, I will still remember you, but you won't remember me. Good, she said, and opened the door. Sunlight flooded the entryway. The world outside felt wrong, too bright, too loud. The street looked both familiar and strange, like a set she'd seen in a movie. She stepped out. Warm air brushed her face. She heard a car pass, a dog bark, a child shout in the distance. Behind her, the house fell silent. The door clicked shut. 2 months later, Nadia sat in a new apartment. White walls. Flat new smell, no creaks. No whispers. Her sister sat on the couch across from her. "You seem better," her sister said. "Told you moving would help. That last place gave me a weird feeling from the pictures alone." "Yeah," Nadia said slowly. "It wasn't right." "What even happened there?" her sister asked. "You never really explained." "I don't know," Nadia said. She meant it. She remembered being stressed, tired, having strange dreams, but the details were fuzzy. She chalked it up to burnout, isolation, anxiety. Her phone buzzed with a calendar notification. Rent due. 2 months at new place. Only 2 months. Had it really only been that long? "You okay?" her sister asked. "Yeah, just thinking," Nadia said. She got up to get water. As she walked down the hallway to the kitchen, she passed a mirror. For a second, she thought she saw something behind her reflection. Not a person. Not a shadow. A shape like a doorway, framed in dark wood. The hint of stained glass. The suggestion of a staircase behind her that wasn't there. She blinked. The image was gone. Nadia. The whisper brushed the back of her mind. Just once. Faint. Almost affectionate. She froze, hand tightening around the glass. "What?" her sister called from the living room. "Nothing," Nadia said. She forced herself to walk back, to sit, to smile. The new apartment was quiet. No creaks, no voices, no whispers. But sometimes, late at night, just as she drifted off, she would feel a house-shaped absence in her memory, a gap where walls should be, a silence where someone used to say her name. The emptiness felt like something staring back through time. Somewhere, an old Victorian house settled in its foundations. Wood sighing, pipes humming. Inside its walls, a whisper repeated the same name over and over. Not to call someone in, but to keep them from fading. Nadia. And the house remembered. Missed call from the afterlife. The first missed call came on a Tuesday. Layla was at her desk, eyes sore from staring at spreadsheets, when her phone buzzed. Unknown number. No voicemail. She ignored it, assuming it was spam later during lunch. It buzzed again. Same number. She frowned and answered this time, pressing the phone to her ear as she stepped into the hallway. "Hello?" Silence. "Hello?" A faint hiss. Like wind through a bad connection. Then something that sounded almost like breathing. She hung up, annoyed. Back at her desk, she blocked the number. That should have been the end of it. It wasn't. That night, her phone buzzed again. Same number. She had definitely blocked it. Layla stared at the screen, heartbeat speeding up. The contact info said, "blocked caller," but the phone was still ringing. She answered, curiosity and irritation mixing with a tiny thread of unease. "Hello?" Silence. "Look, I don't know who this is, but..." "Layla?" She froze. The voice was faint, distorted, like someone speaking through a wall or underwater. But she knew that voice, her brother's voice, her dead brother's voice. Her throat closed. "Amir?" she whispered. The line crackled. "Who's calling?" the voice asked. Layla's knees went weak. She sat down on the edge of the bed, phone shaking in her hand. "Amir, is this some kind of joke?" she asked. "Who is this?" Static buzzed softly in her ear. Then, clearer. "I asked you first. Who's calling?" "It's me," she said, tears already stinging the corners of her eyes. "It's Layla." The line went quiet. Then the sound of breathing again. The kind of breathing she remembered from late-night talks with her brother, when he would sit outside on the balcony, phone to his ear, the city wind catching the mic. "Layla," the voice whispered. Her heart leapt. "Yes," she sobbed. "It's me. How—" The call dropped. The screen flashed. Call failed. Her reflection in the black glass looked pale, eyes wide and wet. "Impossible," she whispered. Amir had died 3 years ago. She didn't sleep that night. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying the call over and over in her head. The tone, the little stutter on certain words, the way he had said her name. It had to be a prank. Deepfake voice, audio clone, something like that. People could fake voices easily now. She'd seen it in videos, but who would do that? And how did they know the way he used to say her name? Not from a recording, not public. It was the exact soft, teasing way he used when she was upset. She checked the call log. Number 000000, no location. No info. Her stomach turned. The next day at work, she was a ghost. Her boss asked her to redo a report. She nodded without hearing. Her friend Maya invited her to lunch. She declined without thinking. She kept checking her phone, even when it was clearly silent. At 3:14 p.m., it buzzed again. Same number. Her heart jumped into her throat. She grabbed it and ducked into an empty conference room. Hello? Layla? The voice was clearer this time, less static. Amir? She whispered, clenching her fist in her hair. Amir, where are you? Who is doing this? Where are you? The voice asked at the same time. They fell silent. Layla swallowed. I'm at work, she said. In the city? The city? He sounded like he was tasting the word. It's loud, he was right. She could faintly hear cars outside, the AC, distant voices in the hallway. She hadn't said anything about noise. How are you calling me? She asked. I don't know, he said slowly. I just heard ringing. I picked up. I thought you called me. I didn't, she whispered. You're calling me? No, he said firmly. My phone rang. He hesitated. I'm at home. Layla's skin prickled. Home, the apartment he'd lived in before the accident. The same place she had helped clear out. The same place that no longer existed. The building had been torn down 2 years ago. Amir, she said carefully, what do you see? Why are you talking like that? He asked. Are you okay? The concern in his voice almost broke her. Please, she said. Just tell me. He was quiet for a moment. I'm in my room, he said. Posters are still here. Windows open. I can hear the traffic. Mom's cooking. It smells like curry. He laughed softly. She burned the onions again. Layla's hand shook so badly she had to sit on the floor. Amir, she said, voice barely audible. Mom's not cooking. You're not home. The building was demolished. Silence. Then, softly, this isn't funny. I'm not joking, she sobbed. You died, remember? 3 years ago. The accident. The drunk driver. Stop it, he shouted. The line crackled violently. For a second, the sound was so loud she pulled the phone away from her ear. Then, abruptly, it was quiet again. Layla, he said softly, don't say things like that. You're scaring me. Her heart broke and twisted in the same breath. Amir, she whispered, you're scaring me. Before she could say more, someone knocked on the conference room door. Layla, you in there? Maya's voice. We need you for the client call. Layla wiped her face quickly. I have to go, she whispered into the phone. Will you call me back? He asked. He sounded small, like the little boy who used to cling to her first day of school. She hesitated. Yes, she said. The call dropped. She didn't join the client call. She pretended to be sick, grabbed her bag, and left work early. At home, she found the box. It was in the back of her closet where she'd shoved it years ago. Inside were Amir's old things. A worn-out hoodie, a cracked phone case, a few photographs, a ticket stub from a concert they had gone to together, and his phone, old, dead, screen scratched. She'd never been able to turn it on after the accident. It had been damaged when they pulled it from the wreck. She held it in her hand, thumb running along the familiar dance. Her own phone buzzed. Unknown Azur. She answered with shaky breath. Layla. Yes, she said. I'm here. Good, he said. I think something's wrong, she almost laughed. You think? No, I mean... He took a breath. She could hear it, shaky. Time is weird. I keep losing pieces. I pick up the phone and it's cold. I go to the kitchen and it's empty. Then it's full. Then it's empty again. Mom keeps walking past my door but never opens it. Sometimes she's wearing the blue dress from my graduation. Sometimes she's in the old one from your high school. Sometimes he cut off. Sometimes she's not there, he finished. Layla stared at the dead phone in her lap. Amir, she said carefully, I need you to do something. What? Look out the window, he hesitated. Why? Just tell me what you see. Silence. Then she heard footsteps, the faint scrape of a curtain. I see the street, he said. The bakery on the corner, the old man with the dog, the bus stop. The bakery burned down before you. She swallowed. Before you died. And they removed the bus stop. I'm looking at it, he said, voice hardening. I see it, her mind spun. Okay, she said finally. Okay, then maybe. We're not seeing the same time. What do you mean? Maybe. She closed her eyes. Maybe you're calling from before the accident, he laughed. But there was no humor in it. What, like time travel? Parallel timelines? You've been watching too many movies. You're the one calling from a demolished building, she snapped. He went quiet. Say the date, she said. Right now. What's today? He didn't answer. Amir, she whispered. What's the date? I don't know, he said. He sounded genuinely confused. It was just Tuesday, and it was raining. Then Mom was crying at the table. Then you were here. Then static roared in her ear. Words got swallowed, chopped into pieces. Amir, I can't hear you. Oh, Layla, don't let me... The call dropped. Her own phone screen flashed. Call failed again. That night, she dreamed of him. He stood in his old bedroom, phone in hand, looking down at it like he didn't recognize it. The posters on the wall flickered between old bands and blank wallpaper. The window view changed from day to night in a heartbeat. Hey, he said when he saw her. But when she took a step forward, she slammed into something invisible. Like glass. She pressed her palms against it. He did the same from the other side. Can you see me? He asked. Yes, she whispered. Can you see me? Yes, he said. But you're wrong. Wrong how? You're older, he said slowly. Tired, your hair's different, she laughed weakly. Yeah, that's what happens, he frowned. How long has it been for you? 3 years, she said. He flinched like she'd hit him. For me. He looked around the room. I don't know. It keeps looping. I keep waking up with my phone in my hand. I keep hearing ringing. Sometimes it's your voice. Sometimes it's just silence. I'm here now, she said. I'll answer. Every time. I promise. The world around them glitched. The walls warped. The posters melting like paint in the rain. The glass between them thickened. Don't promise that, he said. You can't stay. I will, she insisted. She woke up. Her phone was buzzing in her hand. The calls kept coming, sometimes twice a day. Sometimes only once. They always showed as word. Sometimes the connection was clear. Sometimes it was full of static. Sometimes he sounded like he was right next to her. Sometimes like he was far away in a tunnel. They talked about small things at first. Memories, jokes, old stories. Remember when you thought the neighbor's cat was possessed? He teased. You were the one who said it stared at you for an hour, she shot back. It did. It blinked backwards. Cats don't blink backwards, idiot, he laughed. And for a moment it felt normal, like a call they should have had years ago, but there were cracks. He never knew what time it was. He kept describing the same scenes. Mom in the kitchen, Dad in the living room, the smell of burning onions, the sound of the TV. Sometimes he said he'd just gotten his driver's license. Sometimes he said he'd just failed the test. Sometimes he said he was studying for finals. It was all jumbled. Like someone had taken his last year of life and shuffled it, replaying it out of order, and then there were the gaps. Do you remember the accident? She asked once. What accident? He said. The car crash, she whispered. The driver. The hospital. The line buzzed loudly, painfully, and cut. After that, every time she tried to bring it up, the connection glitched. She stopped trying. Maya grew worried. You're not sleeping, she said, poking at Layla's untouched lunch. Your eyes have those horror movie dark circles. Are you okay? Fine, Layla lied. Is it about Amir? Maya asked gently. Layla stiffened. Why would you say that? You've been posting old pictures, Maya said. Late at night. Throwback stories. You never talk about him for years and now it's like he's everywhere again. Tears pricked Layla's eyes. He never left, she said quietly. Maya reached across the table and squeezed her hand. Maybe it's time to talk to someone, she said. A therapist, or at least your parents. I'm talking to him, Layla blurted. Maya froze. To who? Amir, she said. He calls me. She shouldn't have said it. She knew how it sounded. Maya's face softened with pity. Sweetie. I'm not crazy, Layla snapped. I have logs. My phone... Grief does weird things, Maya said gently. It makes you hear voices, smell things, dream more. It's normal, but you're letting it control you. It's not grief, Layla said. It's him. She didn't mention the time 2 days ago when Amir recited a stupid made-up song they used to sing as kids. One they never wrote down, never recorded, or the way he remembered the nickname she hated in middle school, or the time he described, in exact detail, the pattern of cracks on the ceiling in her childhood bedroom. shaped almost like a rabbit. Somebody could fake a voice, but her memories. One evening, her phone buzzed as she stood at the kitchen sink. "Layla?" "Hey," she said, forcing a smile. "Are you busy?" He asked. "No, just washing dishes." "Dishes," he repeated. "I think I was doing that once, or I was about to." Then the phone rang. "Don't answer it," she blurted. He paused. "What?" "Next time," she said, "if you hear it ring, don't pick up." He laughed softly. "Then how will we talk?" "I don't know," she admitted. "But something's wrong with this." "You're stuck. You're the one stuck," he said gently. "I keep hearing you in all the empty spaces," she swallowed. "What does that mean?" "When Dad falls asleep in front of the TV, when Mom sits at the table staring at nothing, when you don't come home." His voice trembled. "I hear you in the quiet, but you're not there. Just," he echoed. Layla's chest ached. "You're gone, Amir," she said. "You're gone for us. We're trying to live, but you're still here for you, somewhere, sometime. And I don't think these calls are helping." Silence. Then, "I don't want to disappear." "You won't," she said. "We remember you." "No," he said. "You remember?" "Pieces, laughs, stories. You remember a version of May. But I remember everything, all at once, and it's heavy." His voice broke. "I don't know where to put it," he whispered. The line crackled violently. She heard something ticking, like a clock, then a distant siren, then nothing. "Amir? I think I'm close," he said. "To something. To a moment. I keep circling it. Whenever I try to see it, everything blurs." "Don't go closer," she begged. "I think I already did," he said. "Because every time I hear your voice, it feels farther away, like you're down a hallway, and I'm at the wrong door." She pressed a hand to her mouth. "I don't want to lose you again," she sobbed. "Maybe you're supposed to," he said gently. "Maybe that's how you move. What about you?" He was quiet for a long time. "I heard something once," he said, "before all this. In some video, that the brain has a few minutes of activity after the heart stops. That time stretches. Feels longer, maybe. This is all just that. One long second." Layla felt sick. "That's messed up," she whispered. "Yeah," he said. "But if it's true, then for you, it's over. It's been over for years. And for me, it's still happening. So maybe I'm just delaying it by answering, 'Amir.'" "It's okay," he said. "I'm the one who called first, right? I answered something, picked something up. Maybe I wasn't supposed to." Her breath hitched. "What are you saying?" "Next time it rings," he said, voice trembling, "I won't pick up." "No," she shouted. "No, please, don't." "If I keep answering," he said, "we're both stuck. You can't move on. I can't get to whatever's next. We'll just keep replaying the same bits forever." "I don't care," she sobbed. "I'll stay. I'll answer. Every time." "You say that now," he said softly, "but you're still changing. Your voice is older every time. You talk about things I don't understand. Apps, people, years I haven't seen. You're moving. I'm not." When had he gotten so calm? So steady? When had she become the scared one? "I'm scared," she whispered. "Me too," he said. "But you're scared of losing me." "I'm scared of never leaving this room." She squeezed the dead phone in her lap so hard her knuckles turned white. "Amir." "Hey," he said, voice softening. "Remember the time we got locked on the school roof?" She let out a broken laugh. "You cried." "You did," he said. "I was brave." "You're mixing timelines," she sniffed. "I definitely cried first," he chuckled. "See?" he said. "We already don't agree on the details. That means I'm already a story for you. Not a person. You feel real," she said. "I am real," he replied. "Just maybe not for much longer." The line hissed. "Promise me something," he said. "I can't promise anything if you're about to." "Just listen," he said gently. "Promise me you'll keep living like I didn't call. Like I died that day and that was it. Don't let this glitch be your home." "It's not a glitch," she said. "It's you." "And I was always trouble for your phone bill," he joked weakly. She cried harder. "Promise me." "Layla," he whispered. She pressed the phone to her forehead. "I promise." She choked. "Good," he said softly. "Then, if it rings again and I don't answer, keep going." She blinked. "If it rings and you don't answer?" "Maybe it rings on both sides," he said. "Maybe sometimes it's me calling you, and sometimes it's you calling me." She hadn't thought of that. "If it rings," he repeated, "and no one picks up, let it stay that way." Her chest felt like it was caving in. "Amir, I think I hear it, he whispered suddenly. The moment. The crash. It's close. Everything's loud. Wait, thank you for answering, he said. I wasn't as alone as I thought. The line crackled. Roared, screamed. She heard tires screech. A horn, a shout. Sound she had imagined 1,000 times but never heard. Then, very faintly, his voice. Who's calling? Who? The call dropped. Her phone didn't ring for 3 days. She stared at it constantly. At work, in bed, on the bus. Every time it lit up with a notification, her stomach jumped. Then fell when it was just an email, a message, an update. On the 4th day at 3:17 a.m., it buzzed. Unknown. Her heart stopped. She picked it up. Thumb hovering over the answer button, the promise echoed in her mind. If it rings and no one picks up, let it stay that way. She sat there frozen, while the phone vibrated in her hand. Once, twice, 3 times. Her thumb twitched. The ringtone sounded louder than it ever had. Tears streamed down her face. Please, she whispered. Please, come pick up. But he had been clear. Maybe this was him calling one last time. Maybe this was just the echo. The phone rang and rang, then stopped. Missed call. She stared at the screen. Something loosened in her chest. Something cracked. Something bled and then settled. She sobbed until dawn. Months passed. The calls never came back. Sometimes, late at night, she would scroll through old photos of him, videos where his voice was clear and alive. The real thing, not distorted by static and fear. She started therapy, talked to her parents more, slowly reconnected with friends, went to places they used to visit, ate foods he liked, told stories about him, laughed at jokes he would have made. She lived, but she kept his old phone in the box, on the top shelf of her closet, not out of fear, out of respect. One evening, almost a year later, she sat on her balcony, city lights blinking below. Her phone buzzed. Her heart flickered. Unknown. She held her breath. The screen flashed once, twice. Then the call ended on its own. Missed call. She stared at it for a long time. Then, slowly, she opened her messaging app and wrote a note to herself. He got where he was going. I let him. I'm still here. She saved it. Below, a car horn blared. Somewhere, someone laughed. A dog barked. Life went on. She put the phone down, leaned back and looked up at the sky. For a brief moment, she imagined Amir standing on some other balcony, phone in hand, looking up at a different sky, in a different time. Maybe at the exact second his world ended. He thought he heard a ringing. Maybe he wondered who was calling. Maybe he wasn't alone after all. The thought was terrifying and strangely comforting. The town that vanished. Overnight, the last thing anyone remembered about Merrow Creek was the sound, a long, low hum that rolled through the valley and made the glasses on kitchen shelves tremble. Some people thought it was an earthquake. Others thought it was a storm. No one thought it would be the last sound they'd ever hear from that place. Except Ethan. He was one of the few people who left that night. Not because he knew what was coming, not because of some warning, because he was angry. He'd had a stupid fight with his father, slammed the door, got in his car, drove out of town with the kind of blind rage that makes everything blur. By the time he calmed down, he was halfway to the next city. By the time he turned around, Merrow Creek was gone. In the morning, the news called it a geological anomaly. The media showed aerial footage, perfectly circular patch of dead earth where Merrow Creek used to be. No houses, no trees, no river, just dry, cracked ground like something had reached up from underneath and scraped the town away. Official statements said sinkhole. Experts said unprecedented collapse. Ethan watched from a motel bed, stiff with disbelief. That's not possible, he whispered. That's not possible. He drove back anyway. Police stopped him 10 miles from where the town should have been. Roadblocks, helicopters, yellow tape waving in the wind. Residents. Only beyond this point, an officer told. Him. I am a resident, Ethan snapped. My father's house is on Willow Lane. My friends live there. You can't just tell me. There's nothing there, the officer said quietly. His eyes were tired. I'm sorry. Turn around. Ethan craned his neck, trying to see past the line of vehicles, but all he saw was a strange shimmer in the distance. heat, he told himself. Just heat waves. His phone vibrated in his pocket. He pulled it out. One new notification, missed call. Dad times 03:17 a.m. He frowned. He'd been driving at 3:17 a.m. He hadn't seen any call. He opened his recent calls. There it was. A call from his father at 03:17. Duration, 0.33 seconds. His thumb trembled over the screen. He tapped the call. Pressed it to his ear. For a moment, he heard nothing. Then, faintly, a sound like wind, and under it, a low, deep hum. The same hum that had rattled Merrow Creek before it vanished. Then, the line went dead. A year later, the world had mostly moved on. The videos were still online, of course. Conspiracy channels picked them apart, frame by frame. Some said it was aliens. Others said military experiments. Others, demons. The official story stayed the same. A rare, catastrophic sinkhole event. But no one could explain why the edges of the sinkhole were so clean. Why satellite images showed no debris. Why, at the exact moment Merrow Creek vanished, radios within a 50-mile radius had picked up a burst of static like a scream. Ethan didn't move on. He rented a small apartment in the city and covered one wall with printouts. Maps of Merrow Creek. Old photos, phone records, strange articles about vanishing villages in other countries. At the center of the mess, pinned like a heart, was his father's final missed call. 5:17 Amdikrum on 03. He played the recording every night. Wind. Nothing else. Sometimes, if he turned the volume all the way up, he thought he heard something under the hum, like voices, like echoes. He stopped sleeping much. Started posting in an online forum called Disappeared Places. That's where he first saw her. Username Nadia47 thread title, Did anyone else lose a town? He almost ignored it. Then he read the post. My grandparents' village vanished in the 80s. Different country, different continent. No official record. But there's a burned ring in the earth where it used to be. I thought they were crazy until I saw what happened to Merrow Creek. Both events had reports of low-frequency hum before disappearance, static on radios, missed calls from people inside the area. He messaged her. They talked for hours, days, weeks. She sent him old scanned letters from her grandparents, describing the last night. The ground shook, but nothing fell. The air felt thick, like trying to breathe underwater. We heard the whole village calling our names at once. And then, nothing. Her grandparents had been away visiting family that night. They came back to a dead circle of earth. Their story sounded too familiar. I want to go back, Ethan wrote one night. To Merrow Creek? She replied, yes, the area is still blocked. But there must be a way. I need to see it. I need to know if it's really gone. She waited a long time before responding. My grandparents tried to go back too, she wrote. And they got as close as the barrier, she replied. Then their phones rang, so they both answered, she wrote. At the same time. What did they hear? Her answer came slowly, themselves, calling from inside the village, saying, don't come closer. We're not all the way gone. Ethan didn't tell her he'd already found a way past the barrier. Money opened doors. So did fake IDs and the right kind of silence. He parked his car on an old service road at midnight, miles from where the police checkpoint used to be. The official investigation had ended months ago. The cameras were gone. The patrols had thinned. Only a chain-link fence and faded warning signs remained. Danger, unstable ground. He cut through the fence with bolt cutters, hands shaking. The air on the other side felt wrong, heavy, as if the atmosphere were thicker. The sky seemed slightly darker, like a shade had been pulled over the stars. He walked. The closer he got, the quieter everything became. No insects, no wind, just the crunch of his boots on dry dirt. His phone stayed in his pocket. He'd turned it off before he left the car. He didn't want any more strange calls. He wanted proof. After half an hour, he saw it. A perfect circle of land about a mile wide. The soil inside was gray and cracked like ash. The grass outside stopped in a sharp ring as if sliced. He stepped to the edge. His chest tightened. He'd expected devastation. A pit, rubble something. But the circle was flat, empty. No ruins of houses, no pipes. No foundations, nothing. As if the town had never existed. He took a step onto the gray earth. The ground felt solid. Too solid. like stepping onto cooled metal. He walked deeper into the circle, heart pounding. He tried to picture where everything used to be. There should have been a gas station to his left, a grocery store down the hill, his father's house near the old oak tree. But there were no hills, no trees, just flat, unnatural land stretching in every direction. His breath echoed in his own ears. He stopped when he reached what should have been the center of town. Nothing. What did you expect? He muttered. Footprints? Ghosts? He turned in a slow circle, trying not to panic. Then he noticed something odd. From any angle, the horizon looked the same, too same, like the circle wasn't just empty. But repeating, he spun faster, every direction, gray, cracked soil, no variation. No small difference, like a repeated texture in a bad video game. Okay, he whispered. Okay, that's weird. He took a deep breath and pulled out his phone. He turned it off, but the screen was already on. Battery, 100%. Signal, no service. Time, Euro 3:17 a.m. His heart slammed against his ribs. He hadn't been here that long. It couldn't be 3:17. The phone vibrated in his hand. Incoming call, Dad. He stared. The contact photo showed his father's face, smiling, alive. This isn't real, he whispered. The phone kept ringing. He hit decline. The call ended. Then, immediately, incoming call. Dad, he declined again. Another call, again. The hum began at the edge of his hearing, low, deep, rolling through his bones. The air trembled. The ground thrummed under his boots. His phone vibrated so hard it almost flew from his hand. Incoming call, unknown incoming call, Ethan's number. He stared. His own name. Calling himself, both calls overlapped. The screen glitched, flickering between contact names. He pressed answer without thinking. The world went silent. Hello? He whispered. For a moment there was only static. Then a voice. Ethan? His knees nearly buckled. Dad? It's loud, his father said. Where are you? I'm in town, Ethan said. Or where it used to be. Where are you? I'm at home, his father said simply. You just left? You slammed the door. I tried to call you, but the phone... He trailed off. It started ringing before I touched it. The hum vibrated louder in Ethan's bones. That was a year ago, Ethan whispered. You don't, his father said sharply. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. The voice changed slightly as the connection warped. Now it sounded like two voices overlapping. His father now, and his father then. Listen to me, the voices said together. You shouldn't be there. I had to see, Ethan said. I had to know if everyone was. We're not gone, the older voice said. We're not here, the younger voice added. The hum rose around him, making his teeth ache. What does that mean? Ethan choked. It means, his father said slowly, that whatever took the town didn't move us. It moved where we are, Ethan shook his head. I don't understand. Do you remember that snow globe your mom had? His father asked. The one with the little village inside? Yeah, Ethan said. You used to shake it, watch the snow swirl, then set it down and stare at the tiny houses, his father said. You cried once when you dropped it, and it broke. You said, I killed the little people inside. I was 6, Ethan whispered. Well, his father said softly, imagine someone grabbed our globe. The hum grew louder. The air thickened. In your world, his father continued, it looks like the globe is gone. The shelf is empty. No snow, no village. Just dust where it used to be. And in yours? Ethan asked. In ours, his father said, everything shook. The sky cracked. The ground hummed. Then nothing. We're still here. The sky looks wrong. The light is strange. And sometimes we hear your world like a radio station that almost comes in. Ethan's grip tightened on the phone. Can you see me? He asked. Sometimes, his father said. A shadow at the edge of town. A shape on the horizon. Then it's gone. But right now you're loud. The hum was so strong now that Ethan felt like his bones would shake apart. Please, he begged. Tell me how to bring you back. His father laughed softly. It cracked in the middle. You still think you can fix everything, he said. Some things don't have a way back. Only a way through. The ground under Ethan's feet rippled, like something was pushing up from underneath. He stumbled. Dad, what's happening? The same thing that happened the first time, his father said. You shouldn't have stepped in. It's noticing you. What is? Ethan shouted. The hum turned into a roar. The sky above him dimmed, like something enormous was moving between him and the stars. His phone screen flickered. Multiple calls appeared at once. Incoming call. Mom, incoming call. Unknown. Incoming call. Ethan, 1 year ago. Incoming call. Unknown. They overlapped. Stacked. Glitched. Ethan, his father said. You need to walk back. Now. Follow your steps. Don't turn around no matter what you hear. I'm not leaving you, Ethan said. Listen to me, his father shouted. For a moment, the hum thinned, letting the voice cut through. I'm already gone. But you're not. The only way we stay real is if someone remembers us out there. In your world, the hum surged again, angry. Leave, his father said. Tell our story. Don't let it take you too. I can't just... Ethan, a single word, heavy, final. The way his father said his name when there was no more arguing, tears blurred his vision. I'm sorry I left that night, Ethan choked. I'm sorry I slammed the door. I'm not, his father said softly. If you hadn't left, no one would remember we were ever here. The phone crackled violently. Go, his father whispered. And when your phone rings, sometimes, don't answer. The call dropped. Ethan turned around. Every instinct screamed at him to look up, look back, see what was making the sky dark. He didn't. He stared at his own feet, one step back, then another, then another. The hum followed him, pressing on his ears, his eyes, his teeth. He felt like he was walking through water. At some point, someone called his name. Ethan! It sounded like his mother. He kept walking. Ethan, please! He kept walking. The voice turned into a scream, then into static, then into the hum again. Finally, after what felt like hours, he reached the edge of the circle. As soon as his foot crossed onto normal grass, the hum cut off. Noise rushed back in. Crickets, wind, distant highway sounds. The sky snapped back to its normal darkness. Ethan collapsed to his knees, gasping. His phone lay in his hand. Screen dark. Time, 0320, battery, 1%. No call log, no recent calls, no record of the conversation. He laughed. A broken sound. Of course, he whispered. He dragged himself back to the car. Years passed. The circle of dead land stayed. Satellites showed it. The government fenced it off. Eventually, people lost interest. New disasters took its place in the news cycle. Ethan didn't stop talking. He gave interviews to anyone who would listen. He wrote articles, posts, threads. People called him crazy, a fraud, a grief-mad son who couldn't accept his father's death. But a few believed. People like Nadia, people whose families had lost places too. Villages with no records, towns erased from maps. Each story sounded different. The hum was always the same. Sometimes, late at night, Ethan's phone rang, unknown numbers. No caller ID. He let it ring. Sometimes, it stopped on its own. Sometimes it rang for a long time. Then cut. He never blocked the calls, but he almost never answered. Almost once a year. On the anniversary of the disappearance, he picked up wind. Nothing else. Until one night, many years later, a faint voice slipped through. Ethan? His heart slammed against his ribs. Dad? No, the voice said. I heard about you. Who are you? There was a soft, sad laugh. Someone from another snow globe, the voice said. We're starting to find each other, you know. All the vanished places. The hum swelled around the words. We remember, the voice said. Because you did. The call dropped. Ethan stared at his phone, then looked out the window. Toward the direction of the valley. The town was gone, but its story wasn't. And somewhere, in a place just slightly out of phase with his own, Merrow Creek still hummed, waiting, listening, remembered. 5. The 404 Experiment. The video was only 4 minutes and 4 seconds long. That was the first rule. The second rule was, never watch it alone. The third rule was, never watch it twice. The uploader called it the 404 Experiment. At first, people thought it was one more ARG, one more creepy internet challenge, until people started disappearing, not from the world, from themselves. Lena never believed in cursed videos. She ran a small tech channel on YouTube. Debunked by Lena, specialized in tearing apart viral hoaxes, camera tricks, fake paranormal clips. She'd exposed how ghost chairs were pulled by fishing line, How possessed dolls were edited frame by frame. How time traveler footage was just clever costumes and filters. Her favorite comments were the angry ones. You killed the magic. Why can't you just let people believe? Because lies were dangerous, that's what she told herself. So when her inbox flooded with links to the 404 experiment, she rolled her eyes. Subject, debunk this, PLS. Subject, real? Watch the whole thing, subject. Guy in my dorm changed after watching this. She clicked the link. The video thumbnail was simple, a black background with white text. 1-4, watch with someone. Changed together, she checked the channel. No other videos, no banner. No description, just the upload date. 4 days ago. Views, 414C4. Cute, Lena muttered. She scrolled through the comments. I'm not the same. Why do I remember things I never did? Bro, my roommate says I replaced him. Something's wrong with my hands. They look right, but feel wrong. Classic viral stunt. She opened OBS to record her screen. Hey everyone, Lena here, she said into the camera. You sent me this experimental, apparently life-changing video, which is 100% not cursed, but we're going to watch it together and break down how it works. She hit record. Dot. Clicked play. The timer in the corner of the video read, where's our 0404, the screen went black. Then a single sentence faded in. Look at yourself. A window popped up in the center of the video. It was her. Not a pre-recorded clip. Not an overlay. It was a live feed from her webcam, framed inside the video player. Lena blinked. Okay, that's invasive, she muttered, but doable. Must have requested webcam access when the page loaded, except it hadn't. Her browser never asked. She alt-tabbed. Her actual webcam light was off. OBS showed no active camera feed, but on the video screen, she stared back at herself, a bit grainy, slightly off in the colors, like an old mirror. The text at the bottom changed. This is you. For now. Lena smirked. Wow. Deep. She leaned closer to the screen, examining the feed. There was a slight delay. Half a second. Maybe less. She raised her hand. Her reflection raised it a blink late. Okay, so it's not true live, she said, narrating for her viewers. Probably a locally recorded buffer. The timer ticked. Euro 927, 404. The text changed again. You are being recorded so it can learn. The Lena on-screen smiled a little wider than she did. She froze. Okay, did you see that? She said, pointing. The recorded version of me made a slightly different face. That's probably just the buffer catching up, or... Her voice trailed off. The Lena inside the video tilted her head. She did not. Her stomach dropped. The timer ticked. 0042-0404. The black around the webcam frame shifted, revealing faint patterns, lines, like brain scans. Layered images of neurons, synapses branching thousands of times. The text changed. You give it 404 minutes. It gives you options. Okay, wow, someone's got a design fetish, Lena said, but her voice lacked confidence. She tried to pause the video. The controls didn't respond. She tried closing the tab. Alt F4, Task Manager, nothing worked. The video kept playing. As if it had become its own program. The Lena on screen reached out toward the glass, pressing her palm against the inside of the frame. Her own hand remained in her lap, curling into a fist. This is some kind of AI face replacement, she said, more to herself than to her audience. They're predicting my movement, generating an alternative version. The text at the bottom flickered. Letters stretched and rearranged. AI alternate. The timer ticked. 0113-0404. The webcam box split down the middle. On the left, Lena live, a half-second delayed. On the right, Lena, more confident, sharper, smiling like she knew a secret. Her hair fell a bit differently. Her posture was straighter. Her eyes seemed cooler. The text between them read, "Which one are you?" Both of them, Lena said. That's the point, right? Multiple versions, blah blah multiverse. Right, Lena spoke, but no sound came through. Instead, subtitles appeared under her. I'm the one who takes risks. You're the one who doesn't. Left Lena. The real one scowled. I took risks, she muttered. I started this channel. New subtitles appeared under right Lena. You almost didn't. You almost gave up. I'm the version. Who didn't? Left Lena's throat tightened. She didn't like that voice. because it sounded like the one in her head at 3 a.m. The one that said, "You could be more than this. If you weren't so afraid." The timer ticked. Era 147, 0404, the brain scan patterns in the background pulsed with slow waves of light. Text floated across the screen like thought severing. Choice splits you. The one who said yes. The one who said no. This video? Contacts 1. "This is still a trick," Lena said, trying to steady her breathing. "A psychological illusion. Clever, but that's all." "Right." Lena raised her eyebrows, as if amused. New subtitles appeared. "If it's just a trick, why can't you stop watching?" The real Lena tried again to close the window. The mouse moved. The clicks happened. The video didn't care. The timer ticked. 2:11, for the two Lenas turned to face each other. Left Lena looked anxious. Right Lena looked calm. Between them, a third box slid into place. Empty. The text above it read, "Room for one." Lena swallowed. She could feel her heart beating in her throat. "This is stupid," she whispered. "It's just visuals. It can't actually do anything. It can't change me." The subtitles under right Lena responded instantly. "It already has. You're talking to me." The room felt colder. Lena rubbed her arms. "Okay," she said slowly. "Let's say, for the sake of argument, that this is something weird. What's the point? What's the experiment?" New text appeared across the brain scan background. "There are uncountable versions of you. Most will never meet. We offer an exchange." The empty box between them flickered. For a second, a third Lena appeared, older, tired, eyes hollow. Then she was gone. Some versions of you had worse lives. Some had better. Some died early. Some never got to be. The timer ticked. Or 2, 44, and 0404. Right, Lena smiled. "I'm one of the better ones. You're one of the worst." Left Lena's fists clenched. "Screw you," she muttered. "Your pixels on a screen." Subtitles flickered as right Lena spoke. "Again, I have memories. You don't. I know what it's like to not be afraid." She listed things. Lena had only dreamed about. "I took the fellowship." "You turned down." "I moved to another city." "I said yes more." "I made friends you never met." "I made videos." "You never uploaded." Images flashed behind her. Quick, disorienting shots. Lena hosting a huge panel. Lena laughing in a crowded bar. Lena on a stage, accepting an award. Left Lena's chest ached, because she'd imagined those exact scenes, but had never lived them. The timer ticked. EO309, 0404 right. Lena leaned closer to the glass. "You're not a bad version. Just a stuck one." The brain scans pulsed faster. "The 404 experiment. Can we move awareness from one branch of you to another?" Left Lena shook her head. "No," she whispered. "That's not how it works. By me, she's hypothetical." More text. "Watch to the end. And another, you gets a chance to live in your place." The empty box between them flashed again. This time, it showed Lena lying in bed, scrolling endlessly. The lights off. Plates stacked on the desk. Dark circles under her eyes. Her real life. Would you trade? The timer ticked. 0333, 0404. Lena's breathing quickened. "This is emotional manipulation," she said. "Show you what you could have been. Make you hate what you are." Right, Lena's subtitles interrupted. "Hate is optional. Change isn't." The screen started to distort around the edges. The sides of the video frame pulled inward, like reality was getting squeezed. Lena's vision blurred. Her hands felt numb. The room around her seemed less real, more like a backdrop. The timer ticked. 0349, forward. The words on the screen slowed. At 404, one of you stays. One of you goes. Left, Lena whispered. "Goes where?" Right, Lena smiled. No subtitles needed. She knew the place in the empty box, the stuck life, the loops, the wasted potential. The timer hit. 4404. Text faded in. One word at a time. Choose. Her mouse moved on its own. The cursor slid over to the left box, then to the right, left, right. Her head spun. From somewhere underwater, she heard her own voice. "Stop." Which one said it? The timer hit. Ball or A3, 044. The cursor hovered between them. The world narrowed to two faces, one scared, one ready. Choose. a voice whispered. It sounded like both of them. The timer hit. 4:04, so 4:04. The screen went black. Lena blinked. She was standing. When had she stood up? Her head was clear. Her breathing slow. She felt lighter. The screen in front of her showed the YouTube upload page. Title: Debunking the Cursed 404 Video. I watched it so you don't have to. Thumbnail: her face, calm and confident, pointing at the 404 thumbnail. She smiled. Well, that was dramatic, she said to the camera. Sorry for the weird visuals earlier. The whole split screen thing was clearly trick editing. But as you can see, I'm fine. No curse. Just a cleverly psychological video. She leaned back in her chair. It felt unfamiliar under her. Her room looked slightly different. Cleaner, taught more. Equipment. Awards on the wall she didn't remember. Earning. On the desk sat a coffee mug from a city she'd never visited. Her channel open on the second monitor showed a subscriber count 3 times higher than she remembered. Weird. Had she really been that tired? She laughed it off. Anyway, she said, the only real danger of this video is letting it get in your head. It sells the idea that there's a better you out there, and you're stuck as the worst one. Don't buy it. You're living your timeline. Own it. Her voice sounded smooth. Too smooth. She finished recording, uploaded the file, and scheduled the video. When she checked her inbox, there were emails she didn't remember replying to, collab offers she didn't remember accepting, travel confirmations to places she'd always wanted to go. For a moment, a cold dread slid down her spine. She opened her document. Folder, scripts for videos she didn't remember writing stared back at her. Debunked? The ghost in apartment 3C. Debunked. The vanishing twin. Theory? Debunked. The 404. Experiment. Wait, she hadn't uploaded that one yet. She'd just filmed it, but the file showed an upload date of 4 days ago. Views, 4,404. Her heart slammed against her ribs. She clicked the video. There she was. On-screen calm, confident, explaining how she watched the 404 video and nothing happened. At the end of the upload, she smiled at the camera and said, and remember, if you're scared, it might change you. Just don't watch it twice. The real Lena's mouth went dry. She backed away from the monitor. On the floor near the wall, something caught her eye. A blanket, a pile of plates, an empty can of energy drink, like someone had been camping out there for days, weeks, months. The air around that spot felt stale, like fear. Her phone buzzed. A notification. New comment on your video. Debunked the 404 experiment. I don't think this is the same Lena. Another. Something about you is off. Another. Guys look at her hands in the first 30 seconds. That's not how she usually moves. Her fingers were trembling. She forced herself to look at her. Reflection in the dark monitor. Same face. Same eyes, different weight behind them. She smiled slowly. The smile felt practiced, she whispered to the empty room. It's still me. A voice from somewhere deep inside replied, that's what I said too. She spun around. No one there, behind her eyes. For just a second, she saw flashes of another life. The smaller channel. The smaller room. The unsent emails, the version of her who had watched the 404 video and lost. Rule 3, she whispered. Never watch it twice. She deleted the file. But the upload remained. You can't unring a bell. You can't unmake a choice. And somewhere, in a place just a little to the left of her life, a lesser Lena sat on the floor of an almost identical room, watching a dark screen, feeling like a ghost in her own body. The librarian who never blinks, the first rule of the night shift at Harlow Public Library was simple. Don't look at the librarian for too long. The second rule, if you catch her looking at you, look away first. The third rule, if she's still looking when you look back, it's already too late. Sam thought it was a joke. Old staff loved to scare the new hire. But after his first week, he wasn't so sure. Harlow Public Library was an old stone building that smelled like paper and dust and something else, something sweet and stale that clung to the back of his throat. By day, it was normal. Children in the reading corner, students at the long tables, elderly regulars asleep in the newspaper section. By night, it changed. The lights felt dimmer, even at full brightness. The aisle seemed longer. The shelves loomed, and Miss Vale came on shift. She'd been the night librarian for as long as anyone could remember. Some said 20 years. Others said 40. Nobody agreed. She looked ageless, tall, thin, gray hair twisted into a tight bun, thick glasses on a chain, long skirt, old-fashioned blouse. She moved quietly, too quietly. Sam only knew she was close when the tiny hairs on his arm stood up. She's weird, but harmless, Marla, the day manager, said on his first day. Just follow her rules and you'll be fine. Her rules? Sam asked. Marla smiled tightly. Rule 1. Don't look at her for too long, she said. She hates being stared at. And Rule 2? If you catch her looking at you, look away first, Marla said. Respect goes a long way. And Rule 3? He asked. Marla's smile faded. Don't break Rule 1 or 2, she said. You won't like Rule 3. Sam laughed. Marla didn't. The first time he noticed her eyes, he was reshelving books in the 900s. The clock said 11:47 p.m. The library was empty, aside from a college kid asleep at a back table and Ms. Vale at the front desk. He pushed the return cart down the aisle, scanning the spines. Daughter 215, 54708. He slid a book into place, straightened another. When he turned to get the next stack, he froze. Ms. Vale was at the end of the aisle. He hadn't heard her. She stood perfectly still, hands resting on the cart handle, posture straight. Her glasses glinted in the dim light. Her eyes were on him. Behind the lenses, they looked too clear, like polished marbles. He forced a polite smile. Oh, sorry, am I in your way? She didn't answer, just watched him. Sam remembered Marla's words. If you catch her looking at you, look away first. He looked down at the cart, pretending to examine a book. His skin prickled. When he glanced up again, she was gone. The air where she'd stood was cooler. He swallowed hard. Old building, creaky floors, he told himself. I just didn't hear her walk away. But the floor under the 900s was carpet. It didn't creak. Over the next week, small things bothered him. Lights flickered when she walked under them. Return carts moved a few inches when he wasn't looking. Books turned themselves slightly on the shelves, their pages fluttering as if someone had just flipped through them. He always had an excuse. Drafts, old wiring, static. Then he noticed something else he had never seen. Ms. Vale blinked not once. He tried to catch it, but every time he looked directly at her, his eyes started to burn first. He always had to look away. One night, around 1:30 a.m., a storm rolled in. Rain battered the windows. Thunder growled overhead. The library was almost empty. Just Sam, Miss Vale, and one last visitor. A man in his 30s sat in the far corner, headphones on, hunched over a pile of old newspapers. At 1:45, Sam approached him. Hey, sorry, I close in 15, he said. The man didn't respond. Sam tapped the table. Sir? The man slowly lifted his head. His eyes were glassy, pupils too big. You should go, Sam said gently. The man glanced past him. Toward the front desk, Sam turned. Miss Vale was standing there, staring. Her gaze didn't move as the man gathered his things. Didn't flicker as he passed. Her didn't blink as the door closed behind him. My mom kept looking at the empty space where he'd been for a few seconds too long. Sam looked away first. His stomach twisted. Good night. Ms. Vale, he called weakly. Her voice drifted back, soft and dry. Good night? Sam. He jumped. He was sure he hadn't told her his name. The next day, he came in early and checked the staff files. There she was, Vale. Elizabeth position. Night librarian. Start date. The line was blank, no photo, no date of birth, just a note in Marla's handwriting, old contract. Do not modify. He asked Marla about it. Don't dig into Miss Vale's history, she said sharply. If you want this job, let her be. No offense, Sam said, but she's kind of unsettling. She was here before me, Marla said. Before my predecessor. Before his predecessor. That's not possible, Marla shrugged. Old buildings collect old secrets, she said. Look around long enough, you'll find both. 2 nights later, Sam broke Rule 1. He didn't mean to. He was exhausted, running on caffeine and stress. A stack of returned books toppled, spilling across the floor. He knelt to pick them up, muttering to himself. Careful, came a voice above him. He looked up. Ms. Vale stood in front of him, a book in her hand. He hadn't heard her approach. She held the book out to him. Fell, she said. He took it automatically. Thanks. Their fingers brushed. Her skin was cool. Her eyes met his. He forgot to look away. They were gray, not pale. Not dark, just gray, like someone had taken the color out of them. He tried to blink. His eyelids felt slow, heavy. Her eyes stayed open. Seconds stretched. Something moved behind her pupils. Not reflection, not light, like a shadow shifting in a deep. Well, his chest tightened. Pressure built behind his own eyes. His heartbeat roared in his ears. Don't, she whispered. He thought she meant, don't look away, but she meant the opposite. He realized too late. His body froze. His eyelids refused to move. He tried to gasp, but no air came. Her gaze held him in place. The library fell away for a moment. There was nothing but gray. Then, shelves. Endless shelves, but not the ones he knew. These were taller, narrower, stretching up into darkness. Books lined them from floor to ceiling, packed tight. Each spine was the same dull gray, with no title. He tried to move his head. It didn't respond. He realized he wasn't standing. He wasn't anything. He was awareness. Placed on a shelf, something moved between the aisles, soft footsteps, the whisper of pages. A figure appeared at the end of his aisle. Tall, thin, gray eyes, no glasses. Now, no bun. Her hair hung loose around her face. She walked toward him, hand trailing along the spines. They never listened, she said. Her voice echoed strangely, coming from everywhere and nowhere. They looked too long. Sam tried to speak. No sound. You're early, she said. But not the first. She stopped in front of the shelf. He was on. I see you, she whispered. I see all of you. Her fingers brushed his spine. For a second, he felt it. Contact. Do you know what a library really is? She asked. Her hand moved, passing over him, down the row. A place where things are kept, she said, so they aren't lost, so they aren't forgotten. Her eyes shifted, focusing on a spot farther down the aisle. But no one remembers all of you out there, she said. All the half-lives, all the almosts, all the yous who could have been. Her hand settled on another book. That's why I started. Keeping you here, she said. Something in the darkness behind her stirred. Rows and rows of gray books. Shivered. Whispers rose around him. Voices. Hundreds. Thousands layered. Over each other. Help. I'm still here. Don't. Look. Please. He felt them pressing. In from all sides. I don't take everyone, she said. Just the ones who see too much. The ones who stare too long into places that don't stare back. She looked directly at him and the ones who look at me like I'm not real. Another book shuddered on the shelf. Every time you debunk something, she said, you erase a version of yourself that believed. You throw it away. I picked those up too. The whispers grew louder. Different versions of the same voices. I saw her. I didn't blink. I stayed. Sam tried to scream. He didn't have a throat. Here, she leaned in. Don't worry, she murmured. You're not dead. You're cataloged. She tapped the spine. Someone might check you out someday, she said. The gray around him shuddered. Then he was back on the library floor, on his knees, book in hand. The clock on the wall showed 2:13 a.m. His lungs burned. He sucked in air like he'd been underwater. Miss Vale stood over him. Glasses back on, hair neatly pinned. You dropped something, she said. Her eyes looked normal, or maybe he just didn't dare look long enough to see otherwise. He staggered to his feet. I'm fine, he lied. You should go home after your shift, she said. You're tired, he nodded mutely. She walked away, moving silently back toward the front desk. He did not watch her go. The next morning, Sam called in sick. Marla's voice sounded strained over the phone. You too? She asked. What do you mean, too, Das? Saka done no. He asked. 2 other staff quit this month, she said. Said the night shift was getting to them. Not sleeping well. Seeing things, Sam swallowed. What about you? I go home before dark, she said. I try not to think about what happens after I lock up. He hesitated. Marla, he said. What? What happens if you look at her for too long? Silence. Did you? She asked. He didn't answer. You know how many people this town's had on staff over the years? She said finally. Dozens, maybe hundreds. And somehow Miss Vale is always here. Always the same. Never ages. That's not an answer, he whispered. Some of them come back, she said. In a way, what does that mean? People donate books in memory of loved ones, Marla said softly. We put a little plaque inside, in memory of, and sometimes the names are familiar. People who used to work here, people we never met. He thought of the endless gray shelves. How do you know it's them? He asked. You open the book, she said. You read the first page, and it's not a story, she whispered. It's a life, thoughts, memories, feelings, everything, written without paragraphs, without punctuation. Just a flood, Sam's hand shook. What happens if you read it all? He asked. Don't, she said sharply. Don't even think that far, he licked his lips. Marla, is there a book with my name in it? Silence, then stay home tonight, okay? The line clicked dead. Sam didn't go back for a week. He didn't sleep well. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw gray shelves. He heard whispers. Sometimes he heard his own voice among them. I'm still here. On the 8th day, someone knocked at his apartment. Door up twice, soft, precise. He opened it. No one there. Just a small cardboard box on the mat. No return. Address, his name on the top in neat handwriting. He brought it inside with shaking hands. Inside was a single book, plain, gray cover, no title, no author. On the inside cover, in small, careful letters, donated in memory of Samuel Hartby Harlow, Public Library. His stomach turned to ice. He almost dropped it. Instead, he opened to the first page. No chapters, no paragraphs, just words. Crowded together, flowing from one to the next. He recognized the first sentence. It was the exact thought he'd had when he walked into the library on his first day. This place smells like old paper and secrets. His breathing hitched. The next line was the second thought he'd had, then the third, then the fourth. Every line was a memory, not general. Specific. The way the light had hit the desk, the sound of Marla's pen, the pattern on the carpet. He hadn't even consciously noticed them at the time, but they were. Here, recorded, preserved, cataloged. He slammed the book shut. The room felt smaller, the air thicker. He thought he heard a page rustle from inside the closed cover. A whisper. Don't close me. He backed away. The book sat on his table, plain patient, waiting. His phone buzzed. Message from an unknown number. Return. What you don't want, or I'll have to keep it. He didn't ask how. He knew. Who? He grabbed the book, shoved it back in the box, and drove to the library. It was mid-afternoon. Children's hour. Sunshine. Completely different from the night version. Marla met him at the staff door. Face pale. You got one, she said. He nodded. I don't want it, he said hoarsely. Good, she replied. Then don't open it again. She took the box from him, holding it at arm's length. What will you do with it? He asked. She looked at the stone building behind her. Same thing she does, Marla said. Put it on a shelf. Hope no one reads it cover to cover. Why does she keep us? He whispered. Marla's eyes darkened. Maybe she thinks she's being kind, she said. Maybe she can't stand losing anything. Not even the smallest version of a person. They both glanced through the front doors. Inside, at the desk, Ms. Vale stamped a return slip. She looked up. For a fraction of a second, her eyes met Sam's. He looked away first. He felt her gaze linger, like a bookmark placed between pages. Don't come back for the night shift, Marla said. I'll figure something out. Sam nodded. He turned to leave. As he reached his car, his phone buzzed again. New message. We're always open if you want to be remembered. He didn't respond. He drove away, hands clenched tight on the wheel. In his rearview mirror, the library shrank. He could have sworn he saw, just for a second building layered faintly over it. Taller, darker, windowless, full of shelves. Years later, whenever he passed a library, any library, he felt a pressure behind his eyes, a sense of being cataloged. Sometimes he dreamed of gray shelves. Sometimes he dreamed of people pulling books and opening them, reading lives like stories. Sometimes he dreamed of a tall, thin woman gliding between aisles, making sure nothing was ever truly lost. On bad nights, he dreamed of a little plaque inside a book, in memory of Samuel Hartend. On worse nights, he dreamed of someone reading it and remembering him more clearly than he remembered himself. He woke from those nights certain of one thing. Somewhere, In a library that wasn't just made of stone and wood and glass, a book with his name on it sat quietly on a shelf, eyes closed, waiting to be opened. And the librarian who never blinked knew exactly where it was, because that was her job, to keep everything and let nothing go. The girl who danced in empty streets, they called her the 3 a.m. dancer. Every town has its ghost story. This one started with a video, a dash cam to be exact. A police officer on patrol at 2:58 a.m. saw a girl dancing alone under a flickering streetlight. White dress, bare feet, head tilted back like she was listening to music no one else could hear. When he slowed down, she stopped. When he stepped out of the car, she was gone. The radio picked up static and whispered, "Keep watching." The footage leaked online, and that's how Alex found her. Alex was a videographer, not a believer. He ran a YouTube channel that debunked urban legends by filming himself visiting haunted places and proving they were just stories. Tonight, he told his camera, "We're heading to Brookhaven, home of the so-called 3 a.m. dancer. Locals claim she appears on Hawthorne Street every week. Same spot, same song. But I'll bet you it's just staged. TikTok, viral bait," he smirked, but his voice trembled slightly. The drive there took 3 hours. The streets were empty. No bars, no lights. Brookhaven felt like a town half forgotten by the world. He set up 2 cameras, one on the dash, one handheld. Time 2:52 a.m. The air was cold and oddly still. No wind, no dogs barking, no insect, just silence. At 2:59, the streetlight ahead flickered. Alex zoomed in. A girl stood there, white dress, long black hair, bare feet. She swayed gently like moving to slow, unseen music. Each time the light blinked off, she vanished. When it came back on, she was closer. "Okay," Alex whispered. "Somebody's playing with me," he honked the horn. She froze. Her head turned. Not smoothly, but in one slow, broken motion, like an old puppet being forced to look. Her eyes reflected the light. Too bright, too wide. Alex's camera battery dropped from 80% to 2%. The screen glitched. He grabbed his phone. It wouldn't unlock. The girl tilted her head as if listening. Then she whispered something Alex couldn't hear, but the radio came to life. It repeated her words in his own voice. "Keep watching." When he blinked, she was standing right beside the car window. Her mouth was open too wide, her neck tilted far too far. He screamed and floored the gas pedal. The car surged forward. The streetlight went out. When it came back on, she was gone. Alex didn't stop driving until dawn. The next morning, he reviewed the footage. At first, nothing unusual. Then, frame by frame, he froze. When he turned on the camera, the timestamp read 2:30 a.m., not 2:52. He'd lost 22 minutes, and in the reflections of every shop window, every parked car, she was standing behind him, dancing. He went back 2 nights later, convinced it was a hoax. He found the same streetlight, same stretch of road. But now, there were candles on the sidewalk, names written in chalk, old toys arranged in a circle. He asked a shopkeeper about it. "That girl," the man said, "was real once. Her name was Lila. She was hit by a car leaving her dance recital. Right there. They say she never left." Alex swallowed. "And the whispers?" The man looked at him carefully. "They're not whispers," he said. "They're invitations." Alex didn't understand. Not until that night, when he dreamt of her. He saw her face inches from his own, whispering, "Your turn." When he woke, his legs hurt, like he'd been dancing for hours. He tried to upload his footage, but the file was corrupted. The thumbnail showed him mid-step, arms raised, eyes glassy. His viewers thought it was part of the act. Comments flooded in. "When's part 2 dropping?" "Dance looks real." "Is that blood on your feet?" Alex hadn't posted any second part. The next week, police found his car on Hawthorne Street. Driver's door open, engine running, camera on the seat, recording nothing but static. And under the streetlight, faint footprints circled in the dust, bare, bloody, still moving. That night, another video appeared on his channel. Title, "She Taught Me the Steps." It was 4 minutes long. In the video, Alex stood under the streetlight. His mouth hung open in a silent scream. Behind him, the girl swayed. Her lips moved in time with his. In the reflection of his eyes, You could see other faces watching, people who'd seen her before, and if you paused it at 2:59, you could see the words written faintly on the pavement, "Keep watching." The writer who predicted his death, Daniel Maris, was not a famous author. He was the kind of writer who filled notebooks with stories no one read. Strange, obsessive, looping tales about time, death, and mirrors. Every story ended the same way, with someone writing the words, "I am being watched as I write this." When Daniel's neighbors found him dead at his desk, they thought it was suicide. But his final manuscript suggested otherwise. It described everything about his own death, down to the minute. The story was titled, "The Man Who Writes Himself Out." In it, a writer named DM sits at his desk trying to finish a story that keeps changing whenever he types. Every time he writes a new line, something in his apartment changes too. A chair moves, a clock stops, the shadows shift. The story ends with a line. Someone else is finishing this for me. The police thought it was poetic nonsense. Until the next page appeared overnight, typed in a different font. Daniel's. Landlord said the typewriter in his apartment had been unplugged for weeks, but every morning there was a new page in the tray. At first, the sentences were harmless. He hears footsteps above him. Then, darker, he smells smoke, but there is no fire. Then, too precise, he will die when the clock reads 3:17. The landlord reported it as a prank. At 3:17 a.m. that night, a small fire started in Daniel's apartment. The sprinklers went off. The fire never spread, but Daniel was already gone. No burns, no smoke in his lungs, just gone. Eyes open, hands on the keyboard, the typewriter ribbon still moving. The manuscript was 301 pages long. The last page read, "The reader continues my story by reading this line." When the detective closed the file, the printer in the evidence room turned on by itself, one page, blank except for a single line at the bottom. The detective dies next. He quit that night. A year later, a literature professor named Rose Hartman began writing a paper about Daniel's work. She called it Fiction as Self-Erasure. She loved the idea that writing could trap a consciousness in language. Then she noticed something in the margins of his notebooks. Tiny, faint handwriting that wasn't his. Dates, times, names. Each one crossed out after the date passed. The last line wasn't crossed out. Rose Hartman. 11:12, 3:17 a.m. She tried to dismiss it as coincidence. The police had confirmed Daniel's cause of death as cardiac failure. Still, she found herself watching the clock when the night came. She brewed coffee, opened his final manuscript, and waited. 14. The apartment was silent. Her heartbeat matched the ticking of the wall clock. 15. The lights flickered. 16. A faint sound, like a typewriter key being pressed. She looked at her laptop. A blank document had opened on its own. Words appeared slowly, one by one. "Don't look behind you." Her hand shook. She turned anyway. The typewriter sat in the corner, the one she'd taken from his apartment for research. It was moving, keys pressed by invisible hands. "It's your turn now." She ran. The sound followed her into the hall. When she reached the elevator, her phone buzzed. A notification, .new document saved, DM story. Continues .doc, she didn't open it. The next morning, police found her door locked from the inside. Coffee spilled on the table, laptop still on. The open document said, "Every story is just waiting for the next writer." The typewriter was never found. But once a year, on November 12th, at exactly 3:17 a.m., an unknown file appears in random writers' computers around the world. Always the same name, DM story, continues .doc, and inside, the same first line. "You are now the author, Sue." The sound you should never hear. They called it the veil frequency. A tone so low it wasn't supposed to exist. A sound below hearing that vibrated not in your ears, but in your bones. Dr. Rayner, an acoustic engineer, discovered it by accident. He was studying architectural resonance when one of his recordings produced a strange, sustained hum around 1898 hertz, the exact frequency of the human eyeball. He joked, "Maybe that's why ghosts exist, our eyes shaking themselves into seeing things." Then he started hearing it when he wasn't recording. At first, it was faint, a hum at the edge of perception. Then, stronger. He heard it in the office, in his car. Even when he covered his ears, it was inside him, a low vibration crawling through his skull. He ran tests. Nothing recorded it. Nothing measured it. It existed only when he was listening. He thought he was losing his mind. Until others started hearing it too. A sound engineer named Mia from his lab texted him. "Do you hear it too?" He replied, "Describe it." "Like the world's holding its breath," she wrote. "And if it exhales, we all vanish." They began cataloging symptoms. Head pressure, eye twitching, static when recording audio, visions, brief, after images of people who weren't there. By week 3, half the lab had quit. The last message from Mia came at 3:17 a.m. I heard it change. "It's not humming anymore. It's speaking." She never came back. Reiner tried isolating the sound again. He set up microphones around the lab, played white noise, and inverted the signal. At exactly 3:17 a.m., every recorder picked up the same whisper. It wasn't words. It was closer to breathing. But when slowed down 800%, the spectrogram revealed letters, forming a single word. Listen. After that, Rainer's hearing tests failed. He could no longer hear high frequencies. But the hum, the veil, grew louder. He realized something terrible. The sound wasn't coming from anywhere. It was coming through him, like a carrier wave, using his consciousness as an antenna. He built a soundproof chamber underground. Thick concrete, lead-lined walls. He called it the silence room. On his final recording, he said, "If you can hear this, stop listening. The sound wants witnesses. It's not heard. It's hosted." Then the hum stopped. For him, but others started hearing it. 2 years later, a podcaster found Reiner's recordings. She uploaded the harmless hum as a curiosity. She called it "The Sound You Should Never Hear." Within a week, the clip had 1.2 million plays. Listeners reported migraines, nausea, nosebleeds, and seeing faces in reflective surfaces while it played. YouTube removed it. Copies spread anyway, every version exactly 3 minutes and 17 seconds long. Audio analysts confirmed every file contains a faint heartbeat layered under the hum, identical across all samples. Reiner's heartbeat. He was already dead when the recording was made. The last known version of "The Sound You Should Never Hear" ends differently. At 3:15, the hum deepens. At 3:16, it cuts to silence. At 3:17, a voice whispers almost too low to register, "Your turn." And some listeners claim that after it ends, the world stays just a little too quiet, like it's waiting for you to make a sound so it knows where you are. 10. The basement door that opens itself. Every night at exactly 3:17 a.m., the basement door opened. At first, Sarah thought it was the wind, then the cat, then her husband, but after he left for a business trip, it kept happening. She locked it. It unlocked. She wedged a chair under the handle. In the morning, the chair was neatly set aside. No sign of forced entry. No footsteps. No draft. Just the door, open, waiting. The house was old, built in 1923. The real estate agent had called the basement unfinished but spacious. She hadn't mentioned the strange smell, a faint mix of metal and dirt, or the fact that the previous owner moved out suddenly. Sarah decided to record it. She set up her phone on a tripod, pointing at the door. Timestamp 2:55 a.m. She sat on the couch watching live. 59, nothing. 3:10, nothing. 3:17, on click, the doorknob turned by itself. The latch clicked open. The door swung inward and slowly, silently, and stopped halfway. The light from the hallway didn't penetrate far. Beyond the doorway was just black. Sarah held her breath. Then, from deep below, came a sound. Not footsteps. Not movement, breathing, slow, deep, wet. Her phone battery dropped from 80% to 1%. The feed cut to static. She told herself it was a prank. That her husband was testing her nerves from afar. That maybe there was a pressure leak or vacuum shift. But when she texted him, he replied immediately, "I'm on the plane, babe. What's wrong?" The next night, she nailed the door shut. At 3:17, the nails clinked onto the floor. All of them. One by one, the door opened, and from the dark something whispered her name. She stopped sleeping. Called the landlord. He didn't answer. When she drove to his office, it was empty. Sign gone, desk gone. Like he'd never existed. She asked the neighbors. No one had heard of him, but one old man at the end of the street frowned and said, "Basement door? Yeah, you shouldn't live there. That house doesn't like to be closed." By the third night, Sarah had decided to leave. She packed her things. She waited until morning, until sunlight filled the house. But when she went to open the front door, it wouldn't budge. Not stuck, not locked, just solid, like it wasn't a door anymore. She ran from window to window. Everyone looked out into the same thing. The basement stairs, from every window. From every angle, no street. No sky, just the stairs. Going down, her phone buzzed. New message, basement 201. She didn't have that contact saved. It was just called basement. She opened it, stopped closing the door. She dropped the phone. The walls began to hum, low, rhythmic, like something breathing through them. The ceiling lights flickered. Dust fell like ash. The basement door creaked open again, and this time, something stepped out. It wasn't a person. Not anymore. It had too many joints. Too many shadows moving in directions they shouldn't. And it wore something familiar, her husband's shirt. "Babe," it whispered in his voice. But behind it, another voice echoed the same word. Then another, and another, like the house itself was repeating him. Sarah ran for the stairs, but they went down, not up. Every door led downward. Every hallway turned back toward the basement. She screamed until her throat broke. The house sighed, a long, tired exhale, and the lights went out. Weeks later, a new couple moved in. They found the place dusty, but cheap. When the realtor handed them the keys, she smiled a little too quickly and said, "Just one thing, don't worry about the basement door. It sometimes opens itself," they laughed. That night at 3:17 a.m., the door opened. The husband got up to check. "Probably the draft, yes," he said. The wife waited in bed, listening. She heard him go down the stairs. He didn't come back. Then she heard breathing from the dark below, and the faintest whisper, repeating his words, "Probably the draft. If you ever move into a house with a basement, and you hear the door open at 3:17, don't go down. Don't even look, because if you do, you'll never close it again."